Greetings, everyone. You know, when I said I had some neat designs to share with you, I was especially referring to this one. I very much enjoy how Treecko here turned out. Now, let me tell you, I had a lot of trial and tribulation periods with Treecko. I was always trying to draw the third generation grass starter as a kind of cool, aloof tree ninja. A Trinja, but really, that's a squirrel's occupation. Either way, inside jokes aside, Treecko, like with a lot of these designs in the beginning, proved difficult. Then after drawing pose after pose after pose after pose, I finally came upon this one, and I really like it. Before, I kept drawing Treecko standing on a tree branch in a ninja-like pose, and while that's a cool concept, I wasn't very good at getting something that I liked from it. So then I took a step back, took a breather, and I researched what geckos look like. Now, I didn't do this because I forgot what they look like, no. I have a pretty good memory when it comes to images and those kinds of things, to a degree. But it doesn't hurt to refresh your memory every now and then. And what I found was that there are a lot of geckos. Simply put, you have normal geckos, the kinds I was most familiar with. They have particularly rounded heads, and then there are the ones with the more angular faces, and even larger bodies. And upon doing this research, I found that Treecko is based off of the leaf-tailed gecko. Gee, you don't say. Duh, of course it has a leaf for a tail. I mean, yeah, but in the moment, that information didn't click with me, you know? I was still thinking of house geckos. And so in this drawing, it was an interesting process getting to the result. While the drawing part came rather easy when I finally got the pose, everything leading up to that required more focus. And I found that interesting because it's usually the other way around. You know, in conclusion, I learned to not be quick to rule other options out, even though you may be dead set on some notion or idea. You will always be vulnerable to the opportunity of learning, and that's not a bad thing. So keep watch of those opportunities. It may just surprise you when it appears. Now, as for this drawing, at first glance I made Treecko's brow, the little humps over its head, pointier like the real-world leaf-tailed gecko. But here I decided to actually adhere to the Pokemon design for once. Surprise, surprise. Because I felt without that touch, it being Treecko wouldn't translate well to the viewer. It might just look like any everyday run-of-the-mill leaf-tailed gecko. Because, you know, we see those on a daily basis. So I ended up giving Treecko a rounder dome and rounder snout, like the one from the Pokemon series. I added little scaly extensions at certain points around the body. They're kind of small, so see if you can catch them at this distance and speed. And in contrast to Treecko's head, I opted to treat the leaf tail in the back to a more realistic rendition. As for the colors, funnily enough, this time around they seemed to be in my favor. I found the ones I wanted to use rather easily. All the greens were good, perhaps they could have blended a bit better, but all in all a really good result. And additionally, applying them was a breeze in comparison to my other videos. I especially like how the red underbelly turned out. No complaints there. All around, this drawing turned out refreshingly good, and most accurately to how I wanted. And it might be my favorite thus far. Now, I'm sorry I couldn't really talk about my step-by-step process on this one. I'd want to make tutorials a more devoted thing I do for the future, something that I plan out ahead in advance, because I like being prepared and planning things, and Treecko here was just a straightaway drawing. Tutorials have been something I never thought I'd be the best at doing. There are so many others that I know do weller than I could ever. After all, I'm still learning myself. So I'm sorry, but maybe in the future I can do a tutorial. And that's it. Almost halfway done with this Pokemon series. As always, you can watch more videos here. Leave a like, subscribe, and share this around with all your friends on Facebook, on Reddit, Tumblr, wherever you want. Your mom's attic, I don't know. but as long as you do it only if you feel inclined to. Seriously though, major thank yous to those that do share my work around. I feel at this point that's what's really important. And subscribing, of course. Can't forget about subscribing. Do subscribe, please. Well, yeah, sharing around's pretty big to me. So, thank you. Alright, I'll see you all next time. And stay original.